into my all-time favorite category, which is still in carbohydrates. It's your vegetables. And vegetables are one of the largest groups of carbs you can find. Now, once again, a lot of people go, are vegetables carbohydrates? Yes, they are. They're certainly not as high in protein as, other foods are. They certainly don't tend to contain huge amounts of fat. Though, of course, there's certain vegetables, if you can categorize them as vegetables, such as your avocados, which are rich in fats. But here we go. Let's have a look at them. Vegetables are obviously really, really supportive for the body in terms of having huge amounts of vitamins and minerals. And they also bring in a whole bunch of different types of fibers. What's amazing is that when you have raw vegetables, they bring a particular type of fiber to your body. Then when you cook vegetables, they bring a different type of fiber to the body as well. Now, fiber is hugely important for us in terms of a digestive tract function. So different types of fibers in the body, in the digestive tract, will support our natural gut bacteria to flourish in a good way. So if you've got the right kind of fiber there, it's called a prebiotic, which is essentially something that feeds the good bacteria or the probiotics in your gut. So if we have a look at our vegetables here, again, they can be classified very roughly as saying there's some vegetables that are generally supportive for the body, and then other vegetables which may be best avoided for some people. So again, it's a general categorization coming more from the perspective of how can we support blood sugar levels and avoid inflammation or reduce inflammatory markers in the body. So when we're looking here at the vegetables that are generally supportive, we've got your green vegetables. They can be your leafy green vegetables, your salads and cucumber and green beans and Asian greens and Brussels sprouts and cauliflower and fennel and zucchinis, and the list goes on. There's a huge amount of beautiful vegetables we can all enjoy. Some of these obviously will be enjoyed cooked and some of them are enjoyed raw. Either is fine, and as I mentioned earlier, it's great to have a mix of both of them so you get the both types of fiber. I've also got beetroots, capsicums and tomatoes right on the bottom on the left hand side, and these are amazing foods to enjoy, though for some people these can be a bit sweet. And what I mean by that is in terms of a blood sugar level perspective, but more so if someone's coming from a perspective of, say, having candida or thrush. So for some people, their body is so sensitive that they will react to the sweetness of tomatoes, capsicums, and beetroots. So that's again one of those things where we have to be very, very considering of the individual reactions and the individual needs of that person's body. So on the right-hand column, we've got the starchy vegetables, which are your potatoes, your pumpkin, your corn, and sweet potatoes as well as carrots. So these tend to be more starchy, which means that they're going to be more likely to spike blood sugar levels. And again, as said previously, once you spike blood sugar levels, then what you get is more interactions with increasing inflammatory markers and problems around that in itself. Potatoes also contain what are called leptins, which can increase inflammation too. So again, and there's other foods as well that contain leptins, which I won't go into too much detail at this point, but just to be aware of it, there are other markers in foods that can cause and increase inflammation for some people. Particularly if you're dealing with autoimmune conditions, then your vegetables that belong to the Solanaceae family, which is your potatoes, your tomatoes, your eggplant, and your capsicums and all those, are one thing to be avoided. I haven't put them there so much in the table for them to be avoided because it's not a case that applies to everyone. Not that these apply to everyone either, but it's more coming from the blood sugar level perspective. So as you can see there with carrots, I put fine to eat raw and grated in small amounts versus, say, having them cooked, because the cooking process actually creates a lot more sweetness, breaks down some of the fibers so that they're less inclined to slow down the sugar release. And so that's why cooked carrots will tend to spike your blood sugar levels much more than your raw carrots will. Pumpkin and potatoes and corn, again, and sweet potatoes, again, it's the amounts that you're eating you have to be considering. If you're going to have a big pumpkin soup as your main meal, that's going to spike your blood sugar levels a lot more than if you have a little bit of pieces of roast pumpkin in a lovely salad, which has your baby spinach and your walnuts and things like that. So again, you've got to consider how it is you're having it, how much you're having it, and how often you're having it. Sweet potatoes are also great for some people as a means of weaning off, say, potatoes or pumpkin. But again, they can get to a point where they can be quite spiking of blood sugar levels or stimulating for a person. So it gives you a little bit of a ballpark figure in terms of some vegetables and why. Why are some vegetables a little bit better for us than other ones, and in terms of what perspective, and why are we having to avoid some things? So again, in terms of the FODMAP situation, there are some foods that will tend to trigger a little bit of bloating and gas in people, and that's particular your onion, garlic, and things like that, and even your avocados can cause bloating for some people. So it's not about cutting out amazing good foods from our diet, but it is about monitoring and feeling what does your body respond better to, and how much better do you feel eating certain foods over other ones. Because food has a huge impact on not just bloating and things like that, but our energy levels and our clarity of thought. So the more you can work with your body in terms of what works and what doesn't, then that's fantastic. It's to your benefit.